He was at remission for a while. He lived a normal life until the age of 18 when he grew out of pediatric care and moved into adult care. And that seems to be the problems when with Michael. When he got into adult care, the level of care has dropped dramatically. Michael was attending the University of Buffalo and wanted to behave and act just like everybody else. And his Crohn's flared up, and his adult GI doctor started prescribing Michael painkillers. Michael was getting oxycodone, hydrocodone, and to combat the depression, he was getting Xanax, Cymbalta, and so forth. Those pills, on top of all the other medication that Michael was taking for his Crohn's disease. It didn't take long for Michael to get addicted. Michael got addicted immediately, and in the winter of 2010, Michael came into my bedroom and said, "Dad, can we have a conversation?" And I said, "Of course, Mike." And he says, "Dad, I have a problem. I am addicted to my painkillers." And I said, "Mike, how did you get addicted to your painkillers?" I know I've heard the stories before of people getting addicted, but I didn't understand what opioids do to you. And he said, "Dad, they're very easy to get addicted to." So thinking that, okay, this is a problem that we can get through, we'll notify his doctor. That winter, Michael's health was deteriorating bad, and we met his doctor 2 weeks later at one of the local hospitals, where Michael had to go through a colonoscopy, and his intestines were in pretty bad shape. And I did notify his doctor that Michael said he was addicted. I never forget the day I got dismissed by his doctor. I got a tap on the shoulder, and the doctor told me that I know what I'm doing, and Michael needs this medication right now. Michael went into the hospital in January of that year of 2011 and went through a surgery where he ended up with an ileostomy bag, a temporary ileostomy bag. While he was in the hospital, I noticed that Michael was craving his painkillers. The only question that always came out of his mouth was, "When am I getting my pain pill?" And it's hard for a dad to watch his son going through pain. So I didn't say very much to the doctor. However, when Michael was discharged from the hospital, Michael went home with a whole slew of painkillers. He had a supply for a month of 280 pills of hydrocodone, Xanax, Cymbalta, and various other pills, and a 6 month supply, a 6 months prescription for supply for painkillers. Michael went through them like a thirsty man goes through a bottle of water. He started taking the pills and overdid it. And every time he needed more pills, he would call the doctors. All three of them will prescribe him anything he wanted. No one really notified us as a family that what Michael was taking was very deadly, very addictive. And even if you take it as prescribed, there's a very good chance, there's a 90% chance that you will get addicted. For a young person like Michael, like I said, it didn't take long. Michael was addicted. And in April of 2011, it got really out of hand, and we have tried to get Michael into treatment and have no success. We called our doctors, we called our insurance company. Nobody could direct us to a place where Michael could get treatment for addiction. Um, and we finally found a place after several weeks of looking where Michael went into and was in there for 3 days before our insurance company, the same insurance company that denied Michael, the same insurance company that subsidized actually Michael's addiction, denied Michael treatment for addiction. Um, in calling the company, they said that no, he doesn't need it. You have to fail first. And we didn't understand what that means, to fail first. We never experienced that before with Michael. We've always had to we've always had knew how to fight when it came to his Crohn's disease. We did not know how to fight when it came to his addiction. And asking our family doctor, um, he had no answers for us. Asking all the other doctors, there was no answer for us about Michael's addiction. Well, finally, after being denied treatment, uh, we sort of controlled Michael's prescription. He was still in pain, and calling his surgeon, he said, well, he doesn't need to get his pills anymore. One of the things that people don't understand when it comes to opiate addiction, you cannot just stop the flow of pills just like that. It does not work. You either gradually have to wean somebody off or subsidize or substitute the pills with something else. As you get addicted, uh, you grow more receptors in your brain. And for somebody that's 20 years old, um, that's uh, that's a very serious problem. Um, in May of 2011, Michael was going through some real hard time. He sent me a text that said, "Dad, you don't deserve a son like me. I love you." And I knew what Michael meant by that. Michael was going to try to take his life. Um, I didn't know where he was. We found out that he was in the garage with the car running, and we called 911, and we were directed to our county hospital, to the psychiatric ward. We spent 12 hours in there, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was told to take Michael home because he was not serious about taking his life. He's a liar. Um, he's an addict, and addicts do that. And I says, well, now what do we do? We just take him home. He wasn't serious. And of course, on June 4th, um, Michael again called and asked his counselor for help and asked to see if he could get into treatment. And the answer was, there are no beds available for you. And he went into the back bedroom, and at 10:05 a.m. on Saturday, June 4th, Michael was gone. Michael took his life. The point that I want to bring in here is this. Doctors and the medical community as a whole really are not educated when it comes to addiction. We have found out that all three doctors that took care of Michael had 1 hour each of palliative care and addiction. Now, remember, that was 10 years ago. Our our system also, our pharmacy system, our um, prescription tracking system was so outdated that it was 30 to 40 days behind on any prescription uh, that somebody was prescribed. Also, the fact that only the doctor can get into it was a hindrance, and it was so out of date that it took a half an hour for a doctor to get into the system. We've decided to, at the time, to start letting people know and raising awareness about opiate addiction. One of the first things that we did was pass legislation that required um, every prescriber in New York State to log into a system that's called iStop. iStop stands for Internet System for Tracking Opiate Prescribing. And that was passed a year after Michael's passing in 2012. Since then, obviously, the opiate prescribing has dropped, but at the same time, a lot of the people that were prescribed opiates have moved on to a similar drug, which is heroin. The point that I'm trying to make over here, that's very important for people to know, that not everything that comes from a doctor is safe for you. And in many cases, a doctor doesn't have any other option, or any prescriber have no other options for pain other than opiates. However, people need to understand that taking an opiate, it could mean death. It could mean addiction. It could mean a life that is being taken away from you. And even if you follow doctor's orders and take them as prescribed, there's a very good chance that you can get addicted. My son was doing that. My son was taking his pills uh, as prescribed, and ended up getting addicted and took his life. We have since then started an organization called Save the Michaels of the World. Uh, we educate the public about opiate. We help people navigate a very cumbersome system of healthcare in our country and get into treatment. Last year, this organization, in the name of my son, has helped over 10,000 people get into treatment. So before you make a decision to take a painkiller, see what other options you have. One of the things you don't want is to join this club that I belong to. And if you feel like a loved one has problems with opiates or has problem with any kind of addiction, reach out. Don't be ashamed. Uh, the pain of shame is nothing like the pain of losing your child. Okay, Seth, are you there?